questions. We've had some great dialogue today. You're recognized.
Madam Chairman, thank you so much, and thank both of these wonderful young men that I've had the opportunity to talk to and be with, and I really appreciate both that. I can tell you just this. From Jim Justice's standpoint, Jim Justice is a business guy. He's not a politician. You know, I'm a small business guy, and I have had dialogue with both these individuals, and we are blessed. We are just flat blessed to have them both. You know, Mr. Briggs was here before, and you bring so much to the table. And Mr. Mulligan, I am just so impressed with you. It's off the chart. So with all that being said, I've got a couple of questions. They're kind of bland in themselves, but I would just tell you first and foremost that you can't fathom in West Virginia how important our small businesses are. But we really can't fathom all across this nation absolutely that the guts, the absolute everything we have in this nation starts with our small businesses. And so with all that being said, again, we have two guys here, two gentlemen that are going to lead us, and they're going to knock it flat out of the park. And I promise you that. And so if I could ask this question real quick, you know, Mr. Briggs, you've been there before, and my question reads, can you tell us today how your prior experience at SBA is going to serve you the very best and serve all of us at the highest level?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. During the first term, I had the privilege to travel your state 3 times on Office of Capital Access Business. I'm a big fan of West Virginia.
And you loved it, didn't you?
I loved it, yeah.
Now we're talking.
We were doing that during the rural initiatives, one of the things that we did. Sir, I served at the SBA at probably the most crucial time in the agency's history outside of its founding, and it was stretched to its limit. And so from that kind of experience, or battlefield experience, as it were, you just learn things you would otherwise never learn. You understand it, you're quickly, intuitively understanding how the agency works and what needs to be done. In addition to that kind of insider knowledge of how it works, I also bring these tremendous external relationships formed during that era and a willingness to work with the committee on both sides, particularly as it comes to disaster response and related issues to better serve American small businesses.
I believe that. I believe every part. And absolutely, not only do I believe, but all of us will hold you to that too, you know, and I think we'll hold you to that very proudly. And if I could go to Mr. Mulligan just real quick and just say just this, you know, West Virginia, I just spoke just a second ago. You know, I had the great opportunity to be the governor of West Virginia for 8 years. Now just think about this. I've said this over and over and over. What is my number one responsibility when I was the governor? My number one responsibility, you know, you may think, well, take care of the people. You know, absolutely be there when things get really tough on them and everything. And all those things are true. Absolutely make sure we're safe. All those things are true. But the number one thing that I felt was get the economics right. Make sure the economics were right. Because if the economics were right, then you can do so much for so many. And if the economics are upside down, and believe me, B, when I walked in the door, and I don't say this braggadociously, but West Virginia was bankrupt. That's all there is to it. And all of a sudden, we got it really, really, really cooking. And at the end of the day, we'd have never got it really cooking if it hadn't have been for great people like you and absolutely all the support of SBA all across the planet in West Virginia. So, Mr. Mulligan, understanding all that and understanding absolutely how vital our economy is, tell me just a couple of things about how you would support our rural economy and absolutely in every way.
Thank you for your question. It's glad to be in your office and share with you the priorities that I have for the Office of Advocacy if I'm confirmed. And the rural small businesses are something that the office is well situated to serve and listen to. Really, it's a listening exercise and coming back and communicating. So The office has been, historically, it's been to West Virginia to visit the small businesses where they are. There was a lime business there they recently visited. With the farmers, we have the opportunity to go out and meet them, also virtual meetings. And the whole point is to listen and then come back to Washington, where in Washington they have authority but not knowledge, and relay, hey, the small business in West Virginia, they have these concerns, and you really need to take them into account before you make your policies.
Well, let me just add one comment. You're splitting the bullseye on one thing. You know, I'm a real believer. If you want to know what's going on with your business, you got to get out there and get dirty and get right with the people. You know, that's all there is to it. And literally, I hear you in every way, and that is a terrific answer to me. Madam Chairman, thank you so much for.
You bet. Thank you, Senator Justice. We'll go